Okay, now, our final keynote speaker for today, okay, for this afternoon, comes from a company that not many of us have heard about. So, not a fledgling company. We're going to talk about innovation in technology for tourism. This company is also my best friend for marketing. And today, I'm going to call up to talk to you Mr. Lee McCabe, who is the Global Vertical Marketing Strategy Lead at Facebook. And I hope he shares lots of innovative ideas with us. Thank you very much, and welcome on stage. Thank you very much.
Good evening. It's a good evening. It's a pleasure to be here to talk about travel technology and innovation and how fast technology is changing our industry. It's not just changing our industry, it's changing every industry. It's changing our business, changing Facebook's business, and perhaps travel is the industry it's changing the most. So travel used to be easy a long time ago. Travel was a very luxury product, but there weren't many options, there weren't many choices. Technology has really turned that on its head. Now there are more options and more choices than ever before. And it's absolutely changed the customer journey and how the customer interacts with destinations and online travel agents and airlines and hotels. I thought it's worthwhile looking at a number of trends that we're seeing in travel tech and innovation. The first one is mobile. So mobile is changing our business and industry more than anything else. It's now far more than a trend, it's become consumer behavior. And we talk a lot about mobile is coming or it's on its way. It's absolutely here. And by here, it's embedded very well. In 2008, when smartphones were first released, there were about 140 million on the planet. Now we're heading for 2 billion smartphones, active smartphones on the planet, changing our business fast. So we have this huge reach. You can connect to anybody, anytime. And it's not just smartphones. We're using more and more devices every day. So 40% of us are using 3 or more devices a day. It's representing tremendous opportunity for travel companies and challenges too. And the smartphone has also become the predominant device that people are using to access the internet. When I think about innovation, if ever you come to the Facebook campus, you'll see a number of posters around the campus. And innovation really has to start from the top down. So this was originally a quote from Mark. And this was a real part of the culture at Facebook. So move fast and break things. Move fast, we still move fast. Even though the company gets larger and larger, we move fast. And by breaking things is really testing things, taking risks. Don't be afraid of failure. Learn what works and learn what works fast. An anecdote about this culture. So mobile's changing everything. And we nearly missed the boat on mobile. So this was Facebook not so long ago. Facebook was really predominantly a desktop business and a desktop platform. We had a mobile business, but to be frank, it wasn't very good. It was pretty clunky. So about 4 years ago, Mark called a company meeting, an all hands, and said, look, we can't ignore this mobile wave any further. From today forward, we're a mobile-first company. Everything we do needs to be mobile-first. Any plans you bring to me need to be mobile-first. Companies that we acquire need to be mobile-first. And I think you'll have seen that in the past few years in the evolution of Facebook. So we've moved from becoming just this one brand Facebook on desktop to a family to a family of apps and services with huge reach. So Facebook, we now have 1.55 billion people using Facebook every month. We bought WhatsApp about 2 years ago. Some people were surprised that we paid for it. WhatsApp will soon be another platform with 1 billion people using WhatsApp. Messenger, again, another platform that will hit 1 billion people soon. Messenger is currently at 800 million people. And of course, Instagram. that we bought around 3 years ago with 400 million. So we now have these 4 big platforms connecting people around the world. And the bottom, you'll see what that means. So the dynamics, that means across these platforms, 45 billion messages sent every day, 8 million videos viewed every day. So this has been our journey. This has been our journey in innovation and our journey in mobile. The next trend is media consumption. So technology and innovation are absolutely changing how we consume media. So this is a friend's husband. I don't know about you, but I also sit at home like this. I very rarely use one device anymore. I watch TV, I'll have my smartphone in one hand, maybe a tablet somewhere else. And we're consuming more and more media all the time. We're now consuming 12 hours of media a day. So 12 hours of the waking day, we're consuming some kind of media. And it's stacking, because mobile is giving us more and more time. As we're multi-screening and use the mobile device more and more, we're spending more time consuming media. In fact, 25% of all media we now consume is on a mobile device, and that number is growing. So this represents massive opportunities for travel companies and destinations and travel marketers, but it also represents challenges, because now whether you're an airline or a hotel or a destination, you have got to be better than ever. Because when it comes to marketing, everything is competing with everything else. You're not just competing against another destination, another airline, you're competing for my time. So whatever company you are, you're a pixel somewhere on that screen, which means you've got to be better than ever to stand out. I often get asked, how do companies stand out, especially on Facebook? The companies that do well, what do they do differently? And the answer is very, very simple. They do something that marketers have been striving to do forever. It's all about personal relevance. It's all about targeting a very specific audience well, and targeting with a very specific message that you know will resonate. And with the rise of data and data science and just better targeting, there's more opportunity than ever for your company to be personally relevant to individuals, and your marketing to be personally relevant. And you can use platforms like Facebook. And mobile has really been the promise that marketers have wanted for a long time. You can target anybody, anywhere, anytime on these devices that they're carrying around with them. You can glean a lot of good targeting information and data and target them with very personalized messages very well. But there's a gap. So if you look at marketing spend last year, there was 44 billion spent on travel marketing globally. Digital is catching up, but surprisingly, digital is still only a small component of that wide spend. And if you look at mobile, it's a fraction. So mobile is 5%. So think about that. 25% of our time we're spending on a mobile device, and that time is growing fast, but the industry only spends 5% on marketing. It's a gap that's got to decrease. The third trend, so just the reach and speed of growth that mobile offers companies and destinations. Mobile, and specifically apps. So think about this. If we think about 50 million people, 50 million users, and we agree that's a pretty good audience, it's a pretty good benchmark. If you are a company and you have 50 million people, or you're a product and you have 50 million people using your product, you're doing pretty well. So radio took 38 years to reach 50 million people. TV is a little quicker. So TV took 13 years. Internet 4 years. We were a little bit faster. The iPod was a little bit faster still. But now, because we're approaching 2 billion smartphones on the planet, because how easy it is to download apps, there are companies reaching 50 million people very quickly. So Temple Run 2 took 13 days to reach 50 million people. The online gaming companies understand the power of this better than anyone. To those guys, it's math. They understand how to develop a good app. They understand how to leverage the network effect. They understand how to optimize their in-stores and reach huge audiences very easily. Gaming get this, but other industries will follow. And before long, we will see a travel company launch an app and within 1 week reach 50 million people. This is the opportunity that mobile is bringing. And here's another interesting fact. So we're spending more and more of our time in apps. It's not mobile web. We spend most of our time in apps on a smartphone. In fact, 20% of all that time is spent on Facebook. And if you look at the average number of apps, that doesn't change over time. So the average person only has 27 apps on their smartphone. For travel, that means there's an opportunity, but people and companies have to move fast because the average person will never have a lot of travel apps on their smartphone. They will probably have an aggregator like an OTA or a metasearch. They will have an airline that they're loyal to, a hotel that they're loyal to. That may be it. So if I was a travel company, I would be racing to develop the best app, the best experience possible on a smartphone. And before long, apps will be everywhere. So Apple announced CarPlay, Google have Android Auto. Before long, we'll have apps in the consoles of all our cars. That will be huge for travel, especially in big drive markets like the US and EMEA. Hotel entertainment systems, before long, will be driven by apps. Same for in-flight. And also virtual reality. So we bought a company called Oculus. We released the consumer version of Oculus this quarter. This is a virtual reality platform that's built on apps. Four, so more immersive and a more interactive communication. And we'll see this happen pretty fast. So it wasn't that long ago that texting was new. Texting was the new thing. We're still texting more than ever. But more than texting, we're using images more and more. So if you look at what people are sharing and how they're using to communicate, we're now using photos. And photos already has a wide base, but it's still growing 30% year on year as a form that people are using to communicate with each other and share with each other. And now we're heading into video. So video is just exploding. We took our time working on a video product, and it's working exceptionally well. Video is growing 100% year on year. And before long, we'll have virtual reality, which I think will be incredible for tourism and destinations. And this is the first taste. So this is, we call 360 video. So this will appear in Facebook's news feed, and you can pick up your phone and check out a new destination and look around very easily. This is live now. So I think this will be big for destinations. And then as virtual reality takes off, imagine this with a virtual reality headset. And the last one, so innovation for me is just about connecting things. We have a lot of posters around Facebook. I showed you one earlier. Another one, the one that I like is by Charles Eames. So eventually everything connects. And when I think about technology over the past 20 years, it's really been a journey to connect things. So the internet was developed to connect information to information. On the back of the internet, we saw browsers developed to then connect people to the information. On the back of browsers, we needed a more uniform approach, so we saw the rise of portals like Yahoo. On the back of that, we saw search, connecting people to information, connecting e-commerce and companies to people. And then came social. Before us, there was Friendster, MySpace, then came Facebook, these new platforms connecting people to people at various scale. Now Messenger is taking off. You saw the metrics for Messenger and WhatsApp earlier, so just huge platforms connecting people to people one-to-one. And then we have the Internet of Things, connecting devices to devices. So up to now, it's been a very linear journey, but that will change. So now everything connects to everything else. So devices connect to people, whether we're wearing watches or whatever new devices come out, maybe it's a VR headset, which connect to information, which connect to commerce. So for a consumer, you know, when you land in a new destination or a new city, we understand the landscape, thanks to technology, very well right now. Thanks to reviews, thanks to maps, you can land in a new city and pretty quickly understand and get your bearings in that city. But the opportunity that technology brings destinations and companies is the other way around. Thanks to big data and better targeting and better personalization, before long the landscape should understand you just as well. Companies and the destination should understand you and your likes and preferences before you even get there. So we've absolutely reached a new era thanks to mobile. And I'll just leave you with a few things I think to bear in mind when it comes to innovation. The companies doing this well right now do two things. They use both sides of the brain very well. So on the right side, they're very creative with their business model. They're very creative with their solutions, how they can help people, how they can improve utility for people. If it comes to marketing, they're very creative in using the canvas. But just as important is the left side. So it's the data science, it's the measurement, it's the test and learn mentalities, measuring everything you do, test and learning on the fly, improving what you have, and moving on. And it's companies that do this well that will redefine and innovate faster than anybody else in our business. And the picture I started with, and the kind of 1950s airline, people love that travel because of these three things. People love the connection, and the connection was there with the company. Maybe this is Pan Am. It was very convenient. These companies made people's lives easier than before. And there was context. There was personalization. The companies normally knew the people and greeted them personally and had a personal service. And this consumer desire doesn't change. So whatever you're working on or what innovation brings, I think these three consumer desires don't change. People want that connection. They want convenience and they want context. And they can have that now, but thanks to technology at a greater scale than ever before. You can connect with 2 billion people on their smartphones very easily, a better connection than you've ever had before. You can provide a convenient experience. You can decrease the friction and provide better utility than they've ever had before. And you can provide more context than ever and provide a more personal experience to the travelers of the future than ever before. Thank you.